This is a brief design summary for Rex Materials TCS, a high-efficiency barrel heating system for the plastics industry. TCS is a high-efficiency radiant heater designed to reduce energy consumption, improve operating consistency, heat up faster, reduce air conditioning load, and improve working conditions. Implementation of TCS is fairly straightforward. Simply remove the existing band heaters and install TCS. A single TCS may replace 2 or 3 traditional band heaters. There are no system modifications required in terms of the electrical, and there are no programming changes. It should be noted that in some cases, only the zones that consume the most energy are replaced with TCS. Those are typically the zones closest to the nozzle. They're rarely energized due to shear heat, and they also tend to have the most interference. There are really only 3 parameters needed to define TCS, including length, diameter, and voltage. You can design a TCS system by measuring zone lengths, barrel diameter, and voltage provided to the heaters. However, there are several design considerations when engineering a system. Most are associated with length. TCS is provided in standard incremental lengths and in custom engineered lengths. The available range is 150 mm to 400 mm, and the standard lengths are provided below. Spacers are available to improve barrel coverage if standard lengths are employed, for better heat containment. Other considerations when engineering a system include ensuring the TCS lengths fit into the zones. This may seem fairly obvious, but much of the design process is really about physically fitting TCS onto your machine, and you don't want parts that are oversized. However, you also don't want parts undersized because you want to provide the maximum barrel coverage. This is for heat containment or to best insulate the barrel. As just mentioned, insulated spacers are available if necessary. Next, effort should be made to generally center the thermocouples on the TCS sections, since the thermocouple is a controlling entity for the heater. It is also best to minimize the quantity of TCS sections. In this example, 3 zones were covered by 3 TCS sections. However, the designer could have chosen to specify 6 TCS sections, but that isn't the best approach, because using fewer TCS sections both improves system consistency and reduces cost. It is also best to minimize the quantity of different sizes used on any given system. In this example, all 3 zones are identical in length. However, in many cases it would be just as easy to use several different lengths. But again, that would not be the best approach, because using identical parts simplifies the system and reduces the need for spares. A key design consideration is associated with interference or any hardware or systems that limit access to the barrel for installation of TCS. Examples are barrel supports or rigging bosses. The interference only needs to be considered if it divides a zone. This example shows 2 zones, with zone 1 divided by the barrel support. And as such, the design will require 2 TCS sections for zone 1, labeled here zone 1A and 1B. This sketch shows a barrel with no interference, so it is designed with 4 300 identical TCS sections, while this one shows a single interface point, that of the barrel support, which divides zone 4. Notice that zone 4 now has 2 TCS lengths of 140 mm each on either side of the barrel support. Some barrels will have multiple interferences, as on this example with the rigging bosses. They divide zone 3 and 5. Again, if a zone is not divided by the interference, it will not impact the design. Clearance must also be considered when designing TCS sections. TCS is thicker than traditional band heaters. It requires 83 mm of clearance, around the entire circumference. If the system doesn't allow for 83 mm of clearance, special shapes are available, including beveled and reduced diameter. Please contact your TCS representative if you have a need for these special parts. TCS diameter is based on barrel diameter. TCS is provided both in standard incremental diameters and in custom diameters. The available range is 52 mm to 381 mm. Standard diameters are provided below. If standard TCS diameters are specified, gasket material must be used to fit TCS to the barrel. TCS voltage is designed to customer requirements based on the voltage of the incumbent heater design. However, TCS halves can be wired in series or in parallel. If the TCS voltage rating is equal to the supply voltage, the halves must be wired in parallel. If TCS voltage rating is equal to half that of supply voltage, the sections must be wired in series. TCS voltage rating can be specified and will be marked on the part and shown in the assembly drawing. TCS must be wired in accordance with the voltage rating. Incorrect wiring will result in accelerated failure or lack of adequate power for the application. TCS is generally designed and sold in kits. A TCS system kit contains the TCS halves, straps with tabs on them to secure the cable tray. And of course the cable tray is supplied. Notice that the tabs need to be aligned during installation to allow the cable tray to snap into place properly. TCS is supplied with 18-inch flying leads made of 12-gauge MGT wire as well as electrical connectors. The electrical connectors provided are Posi-Lock connectors along with high-temperature shrink wrap. Both are industry approved and withstand the application environment, but for more information, please visit their website. The kit also includes installation instructions and a warning plate. A TCS kit assembly drawing is available upon request, which shows a 3D image of the system layout showing the physical dimensions, the TCS halves specifications showing such things as voltage and power ratings, and a kit bill of material. There are two optional items with TCS. Junction boxes are available if customers prefer this approach over the electrical connections provided. One box is required for each TCS section, and it can be secured in place with the existing TCS straps or with an additional optional strap. Notice the slits in the bottom of the junction box. This allows the strap to be threaded through, securing the box in place. Contained inside the junction box is a terminal block, rated appropriately for the application. Notice that the junction box does not fit under the cable tray. The second option is out of gasket material. However, this material is only required for standard TCS parts with incremental inside diameters. The gasket material is needed to adjust the inside diameter of the TCS section to the outside diameter of the barrel. There is one additional part and one special tool required to install TCS. As mentioned earlier, TCS is thicker than traditional band heaters, and it is recommended to use thermocouple well extensions to protect the thermocouple wire as it goes through the TCS wall to the exterior. Notice that the penetration from the exterior to the barrel is through the seam between the two TCS halves, which is approximately 83 millimeters, and as such it is recommended to use extensions that are 90 to 100 millimeters. These extensions should easily be purchased from your current parts vendor. As mentioned earlier, the penetration from the exterior to the barrel is through the seam between the two TCS halves, and access is actually cut in the field during installation. This is done so that the TCS sections can be positioned exactly as required to provide a snug fit between adjacent sections without any gaps, which creates heat loss. The penetration is 15 millimeters in diameter, the same diameter as the thermocouple well extension, and it is recommended to use a file or a drywall tool, though if done carefully, an appropriately sized threaded fastener will work. It is also best to have some coarse sandpaper available to adjust the diameter of the TCS, which is easily sanded if necessary. Installation of TCS is also fairly straightforward. Installation instructions are provided with each kit, showing 13 steps. The first step is removing the traditional band heaters and cleaning the barrel. Step 2 is installing the thermocouple extensions just discussed. Again, these are not included with the TCS kit and must be sourced prior to TCS installation. The bill of materials should be reviewed to verify the kit is complete. And then the distance from the starting point of the new system to the first thermocouple should be measured. Note that prior to cutting into any TCS parts, the flying leads on both halves should be on the same side. Mark the location for the thermocouple on the TCS section and then slowly grind a half circle into the edge of the part using the 15mm tool. Do not exceed 9.5 millimeters in depth. The material will grind away very quickly. Take extreme care not to put excess pressure on the tool or the part. After you have created the thermocouple penetration on both halves, place the heater halves on the barrel and place the strap around the heaters. Secure the heater to the barrel firmly by fastening the strap to a maximum of 10 inch-pounds. Over-tightening can cause damage to the heater. However, the heater should not be movable by hand when tight. Be sure to align the straps to allow the cable tray to be installed later. Then, measure the distance from the edge of the first installed TCS section to the center of the next thermocouple. Recall, the goal is to properly position the thermocouple penetrations so there are no gaps between the TCS sections. Then repeat the process for each zone, minimizing the gaps between adjacent sections. Step 11 is associated with the electrical connections and calls out the need to note the voltage printed on each heater half and also specified in the bill of material to determine if the heater halves are to be wired in series or in parallel. Step 12 shows the process for making the electrical connection. And Step 13 demonstrates how to snap the cable trays onto the tab provided on the straps. There are several approaches to wiring TCS. This example shows 3 zones, each with 3 heaters per zone, being replaced by 1 TCS heater per zone. When the TCS heaters are wired in series, the leads from only one of the previous installed heaters will be used. The other 2 leads will be capped off. Note that if you have a burnout detection system, this must be adjusted when you cap off the 2 unused leads. If the TCS heaters are wired in parallel, leads from 2 of the previous installed heaters will be used. If 2 TCS heaters replace 3 traditional band heaters, the same approach is used, except more of the leads will be used and some may need to be split. Please see the electrical page of our website for more information. To verify TCS will work well on your machine, we ask for some additional information, including the power rating of the heaters, the zone percent on time, and any amperage limitations on heaters. We also use this information to come up with a good return on investment calculation. This has been a brief overview of the design process for Rex Materials TCS. Please contact your TCS representative or go to our website with any additional questions. Thank you.